for this, we want to show up for it. We want you to show our site and not everyone else's. This area you want to put about 3 terms, and put your 3 main terms in there, no more than 75 characters. If you go more than 75 characters, it won't even look at it. That's it, you get the first 75 characters. There's also other keywords. So you get your 3 main ones, and we'll show you how to find all these keywords in a little bit. Then you have, for your keyword section, you have a basket of 8 to 10 more terms that you would also like to be considered for. Your top 3 are going to be the ones that are going to drive the most relevant traffic to your site. The next basket of 8 to 10 is going to drive the rest of the relevant traffic to your site. And not just your site, but this particular page. If I want someone that wants to hire an Orlando property manager, I don't want them showing up on my homes for rent section. Okay, they don't care. They will look at that to evaluate how well you market and things like that, but the main thing they want is they want to hire a property manager. They're not concerned with whatever else goes on your website, where your tenants pay their rent and all that stuff. They want to find where they can hire someone to manage their property. Finally, the description. And by the way, the title tag, the first title tag that you put in there is what appears in a search when somebody looks for something. So if you type in Orlando Property Manager and your title tag says Orlando Property Manager, that's going to be the blue link that appears, which makes them much more likely to click on that link because it exactly matches the search that they just conducted. The description portion allows you to describe your business and what you do. So Google gives the link from your title tag, and then it goes into your website and looks for the description, and if you've provided them with one, it will 9 times out of 10, it will put that into the description part. If you don't put it there, it's going to go find some random content from that page and throw it in there, which is probably fine because no one probably found it anyway if you hadn't put the description in. So the description needs to say what you do. I do property management, but not just property management. I do Orlando property management. Our Orlando property management company has been in business for 45 years, and we manage single-family homes in these areas. Okay? It's a very specific opportunity to tell someone who just searched for an Orlando property manager that that's what you do, and qualify them a little bit. Maybe you only manage homes that rent for more than $1,500 a month. That's a chance for you to say, we manage homes in the Orlando area that rent for $1,500 a month or more. That way, the people that don't meet your criteria won't call you and bother you. So, I mean, some still will, but it gives you a chance to either increase the click-through rate from the traffic that you see, or to qualify out some of the traffic that you don't want to come through. It's a great tool that everybody needs to use. Again, this gets a little boring, but because now we're talking machines and code. John's loving it, but machines and codes. The content on those pages where we called it, on the example we showed, Richmond Property Management, those are called heading tags, H1 tags. That's another piece of the computer program that Google looks at to determine how relevant your page is. So the point behind all of this stuff is that, not yet, is that you are building a story for, first of all, your human being customers and tenants or whoever you're optimizing each specific page for. And then you're taking that great story and making it relevant, making it able to be read by a computer program. You have to understand that. It doesn't always make sense to me. I don't know why they do it the way they do, but they do. So we either have 2 choices. We can complain about why they make their algorithm the way they do, or we can try to figure it out and get competitive. Yes, sir?
Do you think it's better to have a website that strictly is designed to develop owners looking for managers, or is it permissible to have tenants for both tenants and owners?
It's very permissible to have both, as long as the content within your site is built to speak to each particular audience. Everyone in here has a very similar audience. You have potential clients that might hire you, you have potential tenants that might rent one of your properties, and you have existing clients and tenants that need to communicate with you. You can use your website to do all of those things. And there's other things out there. You can use your website for anything you want to use it for. It's just a matter of what kind of story that you build for your relevance. If you want to do property management and leasing and all that stuff on your site, that's great. and you're going to be very relevant. Google loves niche relevant sites. If you start trying to do, you can do real estate. I recommend that you don't. I recommend that you have separate sites for each one. It's going to give you more relevance for each one. But if you want to, you can carve out as many content pages, as many sites as you want to do, as many content pages within your site, and that'll just build a story of relevance for the search engines that your business is what they need to show to their users to remain competitive and stay relevant. So, anything to add to that? Because
I think the best thing that you can do is identify the people that are going to be landing on your website, a potential tenant or an existing tenant. And what you want to do is, a lot of people think of a website as, I have a website, I want to optimize my website as a whole. But what they fail to realize that is each individual web page, you should be creating web pages and optimizing every web page for a persona, such as an existing tenant or a potential client. So you should have an Orlando property managers page that is geared towards and optimized for new clients coming in, landing on your site and saying, I'm looking for an Orlando property manager. I see the services you offer, you're legitimate, you're specific to Orlando. I want to submit a lead. Give them a phone number, give them a lead form, something like that. Or you have, once again, then you also have tenants who are looking for homes for rent in Orlando. So you want to create a page specific for people tenants in Orlando, potential or existing, that meet your criteria, and you want to optimize those pages for that type of person. So we want to try and get people to think, create pages specific for different types of tenants, clients, existing, potential, et cetera, et cetera.
And that goes along with deciding what is the goal of your site. For most of you right now, you're not having a whole lot of trouble renting properties. You're trying to take advantage of this market and grow your business. So most of you are going to want more property management clients, more accounts. That's what you want. That will be the kind of the first goal of the site. Second goal, get some tenants. Third goal, make it more efficient. You will, based on what your goals are, is how you will structure and build your site. Yes, sir.
How do you corral all those different sites, though? I mean, if we've got 11 cities that are in your geographic area, I mean, we create 11 separate pages.
That's exactly what you're doing.
So,
Ideally, yes.
but how are they getting to those 11? So, clearly you could create, I guess, different search stuff for that will take them to that page. But let's say that they find your main homepage. How are they now getting down to that specific Tampa page if you've got 32 cities on?
Okay, within reason, we're going to link it from your front page. Your front page is always going to be your most powerful.
So they need to click Tampa.
I'm gonna-
they need to click.
But I'm not going to call it Tampa. I'm going to call it Tampa Property Management, and I'm going to just put it in the footer link so that it's all throughout my site. That's the next portion of the talk. Is we've done all this other stuff, all the on-site. Now, within your own website now, you need to provide yourself an anchor text link. And that's not a Navy term. Okay. It's
Went over my head.
an anchor text link on your own website to that content. That further tells the search engines that if you go visit this page, it's going to have, boom, Tampa Property Management content on it. So once you've done all of those things, you have made that page 100% relevant for search. Yes,
Will
ma'am.
this work? I have several URLs that all are forwarded to my main webpage. So I have www.careypropertymanagement.com forwarded to my website. Could I take each one of those forwarded websites and put the name Apex Property Management, Carey Property Management after each one of those?
No, don't do that. No, go ahead.
Anytime you redirect an old URL to a new URL, all you are doing is passing the value. For instance, when Dave sold RentClicks to Crime Media and became Rentals.com, he had a website that had hundreds of thousands of links. It was, 10 years old. By doing a redirect on a site like that, you are passing power to the new site, to Rentals.com. All a 301 or all a redirect does is pass old power and links from your old sites to new ones. It does not, for instance, if I were to buy OrlandoPropertyManagement.com and I redirected it to JohnEwan.com, I'm not going to get ranked on Google for that because all I'm doing is redirecting. It's not my physical URL, so to speak.
Right, so the URL, there are a lot of factors that are important on the URL, but a lot of people will say, oh, I'm going to go buy Tampa-property-managers.com and redirect it to my website, that doesn't do any good, okay? Because that URL is a brand new URL that hasn't had what we call season on it. Okay, it hasn't been out in cyberspace, getting crawled, having content on it. Redirecting a brand new URL to an existing URL doesn't help you. If you go out and buy one of your competitors and their URL is doing very well and you redirect it to your site, that is a significantly powerful redirect. Because everything that's happened on that site over the last 2, 5, 10, 15 years gets transferred to your website. So if you buy out one of your competitors that also does Orlando property management and redirect that page to you, then that's a significant help. That's why we're telling you this stuff today. Because if somebody decides to buy your company and you are killing them in search, that is an extremely valuable asset. They have to pay for it if they want it. So.
And I think it's important to note, I know since we're glazed over,
My fault.
it's not so much. I mean, we know that you have businesses to run, it's not about that, it's just to get you enough knowledge to be dangerous. We can always, if you want to pick our brains at some point, you want to do that. The point is, whoever you're working with should be managing this stuff for you. I'm sure you all have a web host provider or an IT person or a resource. You just need to be dangerous enough to keep them honest and make sure that they're doing their job. You don't have time. This is a full-time job and then some. So it's not, the point is not to walk away and go, oh my gosh, I got to do H1 tags and H4 tags. I don't know how to do it. This is just, now you know what an H1 tag is. So it's important. I get it. You know?
And what Clay's point is that a lot of people are going to go back and they're not going to do anything about this. And those of you that do are going to go back and you're going to crush your competitors. Because most, unfortunately or fortunately, in the property management industry, most people don't do this correctly. And when I say most, I mean 95%. Some of the best companies out there are doing this right. And it's a huge opportunity for, if you're a smaller company, to start making some hay. And if you're a big company, it's an opportunity for you to just shut down and crush the rest of your competition. There are so few people doing this correctly that it's a gigantic opportunity for those that do it. So those of you that go home and take this stuff and do it, I mean, it's literally, especially those of you that have old seasoned websites that you've been doing business on for a long time that Google indexes and crawls every day, it's going to go, you're going to make these changes, it's going to see it and be like, thank you, and you're going to move up to 35 spots on your, I mean, we've had customers that we've taken from page 70, or from number 70 to number 18 in a week. And then they gradually move back up and move up as we get more and more relevant. They start doing the offsite stuff. If you're on page, if you're not in the top 100 and you go do this stuff, you're going to be in the top 40, 50. If you're on the second page and you go do this stuff, you're going to be on the first page. If you're number 4 and you go do this stuff and you haven't done it yet, you're going to be number 1. That's the impact that these kind of changes can have. And I know that most of you love referrals, and who doesn't, but why not take business that's out there for free? It's out there, and it can be had, because most of your competitors are not doing a very good job with it. Any questions on, yes ma'am?
So when we get home and we make all of these changes, or have our web people make them,
Yes.
should all the agents in the office then go home and do these searches to help move us up the line, or just
No, that's not.
know that you're at home and you're constantly logging into your own site and doing your own searches, and they figured that out?
Yeah, they have that figured out. That's not going to help you. Searching for it. Well, if it did, I'd be doing searches right now. But no, it's we did have a question last time about bounce rate, and if your staff comes in and opens up their computer and leaves it on all day, does that help? The answer is actually no. It hurts you because it's a bounce. If it just stayed, if it's a timeout, it counts as a bounce. So if you open your front page and just leave it there, and it times out after generally around 30 minutes, it counts as a bounce. So the only things you can do are on your site. Everyone's trying to think of new ways to do it, and they do sometimes. And then Google goes and figures it out and crushes it. So I mean, if you want to try to compete with Google on their own algorithm on how to trick them, they're going to win that battle every time. Because they see people doing shady things and they go and crush it because they want to think like a human and they want the best experience for their user. And they are adamant about that, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that they're delivering that. So the factors that you can control are what we just talked about. Write awesome content for each of your areas. Don't go home and, you can go home and you can cut and replace what is it, cut and paste, find and replace Orlando with Winter Haven or Winter Park. You can do that, and you're not probably gonna get in trouble, but it's just not ideal. Remember, you gotta start off by talking to the human beings, and then you've gotta take that content and make it machine readable. But the first thing you have to do is make sure that if a human reads it, they're gonna hire you. And if you sit there and say, we're an Orlando property management company that does Orlando property management with lots of great Orlando property managers, that doesn't sound natural, it doesn't sound right, and they're not gonna hire you because I can't speak English. You can't form an appropriate sentence. So you have to balance that. And the main thing, always err on the side of talking to a human being first, and then put it in there and sprinkle in enough of it so that the machines know what you do, and then do the other things that we talked about with the URL, the pictures, the internal linking to those areas of your site, and do all that stuff. That's how you make that particular section of your site. If it's Orlando, you just made that Orlando page 100% relevant. Now, we're talking about off-page stuff. Now, if I want, what time? What's that? That's it? Is it really? Wow.
This is literally a 3-day workshop.
Yeah, this is.
We're really trying to brush some high-level stuff, but it can be really intense.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through this really, really quick and just talk about the power of what we've just done. And the reason we're doing this is because I get the question, social media, I want to do some social media. Okay, let's say that you go out and spend a bunch of money on social media and you link back to your website, to the content, the authority section. I told you there's unranked, there's relevance and authority, okay? We just took care of the relevance. We just made that page 100% relevant for what you want to do. Now go crazy with it out on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else and link back to it. When you do, call the link Orlando Property Management and link back to that highly 100% relevant page that you just created. Now all your social efforts are significantly more powerful. Because if you link back Orlando Property Management to a page that doesn't talk about Orlando Property Management, Google and the other machines don't recognize it. You're going to get a tiny bit of authority for it because it is a link and it counts and helps you. But if the page referenced doesn't show what the link says, you don't get very much authority for it. Now, if you already did all those things that we have and now your page is totally relevant, now you can go out and create links and a story back to that page and reference it. So as your relevance is 100% now, maybe you just started, but maybe you populated your Facebook page and your Twitter page, and those links are coming back to you, and the story's out there. The internet's a popularity contest. Who's getting talked about the most? And is that person relevant? So if you're getting talked about and you're relevant, you're going to win. You win because you're the most relevant site, and everyone's talking about you. And that just also happens to be what you do, so it's a perfect fit for their searchers. It sounds daunting, it sounds like a big puzzle, but it's not. It's helping them piece together what you do and sending their users that want someone that does that to the right place. So the social media aspect, you shouldn't even be thinking about it until you have the relevant side down pat. And if you have an Orlando page, that's great. If you want to compete in Winter Haven, build a Winter Haven page. If you want to compete in Sarasota, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, build those pages. And if you really want to do a good job, go in and make specific, brand new, great human content for each one of those pages. Can you get away with cutting and pasting them? Yes, you can. Google is not smart enough to recognize that yet. But my guess is that someday they will. And they'll be able to see that, oh, well, they just took out Tampa and plugged in Clearwater. So I don't know where to count that. Right now they do, but someday they might not. So I would recommend that if you do business in Clearwater, you probably know the area fairly well. You probably have a bunch of houses there. You probably know some great information about the area that you can share with people. And when you do that, sprinkle in Clearwater Property Management. And then build a page just like we just taught you to. And then that page now is ready to go out and get Facebooked and Twittered and everything else. But if you're those efforts are time consuming and expensive, and if your page isn't relevant and ready to receive all those links to build your authority, it's a waste of time. So, any questions? I think we're running low on time, so we'll do. Oh, we do?
Keep up.
Well, let's. Well, now I don't know what to say. All right, so, okay, so we just built relevant, we just took care of your site and made it relevant, because like I said, there's only two things that go into your rankings. Authority and relevance. We get to control relevance, we just did all that. We just built our site correctly to reference that page. We want a certain basket of terms that we've used, that we've designed that page to compete for. Now we're gonna go out into the world and we're going to try to gain some authority for it. We've already taken care of the relevance, now it's time for authority. All authority is links. It's how many links are out there and what kind of links are they. If somebody links to your content from, if your buddy links to your content from his sprinkler repair shop, it's decent, but it's not as good as if CNN links to you. So if you get a, because it's pretty hard to get that link. Okay, so the harder it is, generally, the harder it is in life to accomplish something, the more rewarding it is to get. So and that's the point about making sure your site's relevant. Because if you're gonna go out and try to tackle these people and get them to send links to you, and you wanna make sure that your site is indeed what they're talking about. Yes, ma'am?
How does Google know that the sprinkler repair guy is as important as CNN? I mean, how do they determine?
Because Google indexes every single, they attempt to index every single page on the internet, and they know what happens on each one of those pages. A lot of people go there through a Google browser, or they have Google email, and they track. John, do you want to take a stab? I mean, it's based on a lot of factors, but Google knows. They know that
So
Bob
do they
Spring-
assign priority to
Exactly,
CNN?
they do.
Right.
It's not as widely used as it used to be, but it's called a page rank. And it's a scale from 0 to 10 that shows how powerful that particular page is. To go from 0 to 1 takes a certain amount of authority. To go from 0 to 2 takes twice that authority. To go from 2 to 3 takes twice that authority. It's a logarithmic climb to get up to 10. As a matter of fact, there's only like 3 or 4 page rank 10 websites. Google, CNN, Wikipedia. They might even be a 9, I don't know. So the type of links that you get are very important. What kind, is it a little tiny website, or is it a big authoritative website? Is it in the same industry and category that you do, or is it a completely unrelated category? Is it a one-way link, or is it a reciprocal link? Okay, if you guys get together and say, hey, you link to me, I'll link to you, that will help you, so you should do that. But it's not as helpful as if, Fred just one-way links over to Andrew because he thinks his content's awesome. If somebody links to your content without anything in return, that's great. It's much better than if, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
So would it not be beneficial to link to all the utility companies in the area?
That's okay too.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
That's providing your,
Because that would be a high ranking, I would think.
okay, but what I'm talking about is you're talking about a link that comes off of your site. So Google says, hey, good job, utility company, you got a link. But that's okay, but you can't hoard links either. You have to provide a couple links here and there. You can't just, you can't, go ahead.
I think the best way to explain links coming into your site to build your authority is Google looks at a link. If I were to create a link from my website, point to you, I'm giving you a vote, a thumbs up. I'm saying, hey, this is a great website. So Google says, wow, this website thought they're great, that website linked you, that website linked you. The more people that link to you, the better your content must be.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but also the next part was what kind of, is it just a link that references your URL, or is it an anchor text link that says Orlando Property Management? Now go ahead.
That's all I have.
No, I was gonna, the point is, if CNN links to you and says Orlando Property Manager, then it links to your content on a relevant page that you've created, you just won that battle. No one else is probably gonna get that link. It's gonna be very difficult, or they're gonna have to go out and get 500 other links from somewhere else. If you can get a story done about yourself, that's why people do PR, that's why they do all this stuff, is to try to build authority for their content, because those terms will make you money if you compete for them, because people will hire you because they find you.
And that's the thing
And
with
that's-
blogging too, if you have good content with your blog and people find it very interesting, investors, and they pass it on
Right.
to somebody, and they pass it on to somebody, now you're getting all these links
So-
from everybody. You're getting a vote from everybody that passes that on, and that's the DNA of social marketing. Every time somebody tweets or likes or becomes a fan of your page, that's a popularity vote, and that's what that is.
Okay, so somebody found the blog, they're like, hey, they email the link out to you, you click on it, you're saying.
Or they share it, or they,
Just share it through email, that still drags attention? Without.
hey, ask Groupon. Email's the original social media, it still works. I mean, Google does not crawl
They have to
emails.
open that link up and actually.
Well, you want the search engines to see it. The search engine's not gonna read the email. But if you share it on your Facebook business page with a link, Denver Homes for Orlando Property Management, put that in your text somewhere. Some sites you can link, some sites you can anchor text link to, some you can't. But the point is that you have a relevant page and now everyone else is talking about it. And if they link to it properly, every link is good, unless you're paying for it. If you're paying for links, stop right now. You'll get caught, you'll get banned from the internet. You'll be gone for 2 years. Do not pay for links. I mean, people do it and they have success with it. And then they get caught and it doesn't happen anymore. Then they get caught and they're gone. So if you want to turn your faucet off, go pay for a bunch of links. You will get caught. That's the end of the road. So don't pay for links because that's the search engine's measurement of what that sounds like mine. That's the search engine's measurement of the authority of your site. And if you're messing with that and manipulating with it, they will crush you. So don't even take that chance. It's not worth it. Yes, sir.
So maybe funny, interesting type of content too could still be.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could be related or
Absolutely.
unrelated.
You want human beings to take interest in your content, and then the machines to link back. If you get a link from a powerful site that says Orlando Property Management, and then Google finds that on this authoritative website, and then they go trace its source, and they land on your 100% relevant page on Orlando Property Management, and you just got a vote from an amazing site with that took the time to tell the search engines what the content was like on that page, that is solid gold. That's the best thing you can get. But let's say let's say you're a great property manager, but you didn't build your site for relevance, and CNN just linked to you Orlando Property Manager, and you have a page up that talks about your tenant application process. It doesn't score, doesn't compute. Google says, okay, the authority's nice, but the relevance really isn't that good. So, we'll give it a little bit of an uptick, but not much. Whereas if they say, boom, Orlando Property Management, boom, great Orlando Property Management page. Relevance, authority, rank.
So then, really for us, an ideal one-way link would be from a local employer, major employer in here,
Exactly.
coming back to us, or chambers of
Or
commerce.
your local
Yes.
newspaper.
.org.edus have much
Yes.
more impact than .com.
Exactly. Like I said, this is a very long presentation. We only get the types of links that you get. If you can get it from a .gov,
Yeah.
a .edu, only universities can get .edus. So I can't go buy a .edu and link to you. But if the University of Tampa, whatever it is, .edu links to me and says, here's a great place to find homes for rent in Tampa, or a property manager in Tampa, that is a solid gold link that you can't buy. So, I mean, yes, ma'am.
So would that be like, say, a university under their student housing section,
Absolutely.
and they have links to the local
That's
property
right.
managers? Is that what you're talking
That's right.
about?
And if the local utility links to you, very good. Very good.
Sleeping with someone.
That's how I got a bar.
Rentalsites.com or property manager websites working with this.
Okay.
Where does your business do this?
We, like I said, we come from a very specific property management background. And when we build a site, we make sure that all these factors are taking place. Yeah, we partner with our clients so they can go manage property, and we do all this stuff for them.
So we build the websites, we do the SEO and all that stuff.
So you're the one that makes it go.
That's right. And then you're the one that manages the properties, because I don't want to do that anymore. Yes, ma'am.
Don't need to be rude, can we afford your services?
Probably not. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, absolutely. I used to be a property manager. I know what you guys
We're lean and
pay.
hungry.
So, yeah, we all three of us are staying at the KOA. We were going to call Matt and see if we could stay at his house, but, we thought that might be a little weird. So, yes, ma'am.
So what should a property manager expect to pay for a great site to be built and the ongoing, I mean, what should we budget for the ongoing?
Okay, we're not really allowed to come in here and pitch our services. Our booth is open afterwards. Please come by and we'll talk to you about everything we have. You can check out any kind of competition. And, you know, you can talk to your peers, talk to your friends and see what they're paying. And you know, if you want to talk to us, come talk to us. We'll tell you what we do too. So.
And again, for us, it's more about educating you guys. Like, if you guys are using other service providers, that's great. Just make sure they're doing their job. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure that they're helping you make your website an asset, not a liability. And that's really what we're talking about.
So all of these services can be had from, whether it's your company or another company, can be had from one company? Because I'm thinking, I know people who build web pages, I know people who do social networking, and I'm envisioning having to hire 3 different people to make all of this happen.
Okay, that's very possible that you might have to do that. However, what I always recommend to everyone is get your relevance straight first. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to have a 3-phase plan and implement all 3 phases right now. You don't say, oh, I got to do relevance, social media, and my PR campaign and blogging. You don't have to do all that yet. Get your relevance right first, and let's see where you settle out after you do that. You might, in your market, you might be able to be very competitive just by getting your relevance right. I would guess that most people can be very competitive just by doing relevance correctly. If you have a bunch of competitors out there that are doing a great job and everyone's exactly the same relevant, then you might need to step it up and start doing an authoritative link building campaign and doing some blogging and press releases and all that kind of stuff. But don't get there, don't do that effort, time, effort, money, if you don't have to. If you can accomplish your goals by making your site relevant, start there. And then, yes, sir.
I had a question about blogging.
Okay.
And I've seen a couple of techniques that property managers have used on the internet where property manager uses their core property management site and blogs on that. And I've also seen a property management site and a separate site for blogging that points back to the property management site. Are there any pros and cons for doing it that way?
Both are effective. I would prefer to see you blog all of your content from your website. Your website should be your hub for everything that happens. And when you create that content, you can also create the links within that content that reference the correct page on your site. So when you go out and blog about an eviction process in Orlando, you can do a link for Orlando Property Management, reference it back to your services page. And not only that, but your blog, Google they like great content, but they also like new and fresh content. The more often you put new and fresh content on your site, the better. So you get to, you'll notice that if you get to a certain rank and you don't do anything, you'll gradually drift down. As soon as if you do a consistent blogging effort, you'll stay there, and if not even move up. So I prefer the on-site blogging, but blogging on your actual company website. But the off-site blogging works as well too, as long as you're driving great links to quality, relevant content. It all works. I prefer it on your site though. Go ahead.
I would say with that, blogging on your site, most of the times property managers don't want to create their blog as a full-time job. If you wanted to make it a full-time job and put tons of content in there, offer guest speakers or guest bloggers to come on, you wanted to create it as its own standalone entity, then that's a good thing, because you could create relevance and rank and authority for that specific link, or for that blog, and linking back to your property management site would be good. Most people don't have time to do it on a very grand national scale. So by putting it inside your own personal website, what you're doing is you're growing the links and the content on your site, making your personal site bigger, and Google likes larger sites. So I would say, unless you're going to go full-time and say propertymanagementblog.com and have everyone nationally blogging on it and active on it, it's most likely going to be more beneficial to keep it on your site.
But again, it's got to be a strategy. Don't just go out there and start blogging and writing about whatever. You're going to blog because you want customers and you want them to, so when you blog, it needs to be great content that's not a sales pitch. As soon as you try to sell people on your blog, you're done. They don't want to hire someone that's selling to them. They want to hire the authority. You become the authority by giving them awesome content, and then they imply that they should hire you because you know what you're talking about. You don't say hire me.
Everything should be about educating your audience.
That's right.
Just think about that every time you do something, I'm educating my audience, and then once you become the resource and the hub of that education, that's what Google wants. They want that organic, educating your audience, not trying to find tricks to get around and do this and do that. But what we're talking about is fundamentals. 95% of people, like they've said, don't even do the fundamentals. That's what's scary, but that's an opportunity at the same time. And then once you get the fundamentals down, you can really start to work on a lot of these advanced strategies. So it should be a phased process.
That's the end of our talk. We will be at our booth. Please direct all of your questions to us out in the booth area. And I appreciate That's right. Call it an airstrike if, but then the Army guys will come in and actually occupy the area. Oh, really?
That hair looks awfully smooth. You look try to get it out and so I'm like, it's a computer bag.